Hey there, welcome to the Crow Cottage. I am here so much later today and I really apologize, but as you can see, it is so beautiful here. Why would I be inside doing cards? I've been outside planting all day, so I'm right in front of our snowball bush and it's just started to open up. And oh man, it is so beautiful. And then if you look behind me, you can see some lilacs. We have lilacs all over the yard, and I just have been outside planting and enjoying. So I am going inside to do a card, and I hope you can join me. So we're gonna walk in. My glasses hopefully will adjust. Hopefully I won't lose the camera feed as I stick it on the stand, and we'll get a card done. I hope you had a great Easter. Jeff and I had a wonderful Easter. We have a very different Easter than we used to because, of course, I used to love doing our Easter egg hunts with our kids. And our kids are all grown and aren't doing that sort of thing anymore with us. They're doing it with other people who have little kids. Excuse my head. I've got to adjust my stand here. But anyway, it's a little dark in here, or is it just my glasses? My glasses are really dark. And I don't know if anybody's going to be with me because I'm like hours later. What is it? Two and a half probably hours later than I normally do this, and I'll try to do better. But today was just one of those days. All weekend we were gone, and so of course when I got back, I wanted to get out and plant, and they weren't supposed to deliver plants, but I had 2 roses that thankfully my friend Cheryl put in our porch, or got it out of the sun for us, because I had to text her. I think my plants came, and that was pretty ridiculous. So anyway, I'm gonna do Lilypad Lake, and this is a stamp set I think that's been around for a little bit. I'm not really sure. I'm checking out my carryover stamps set, and yes, Lilypad Lake is staying. So this is one that's going to be in the catalog next year, but I believe right now you can get it as a 10% off bundle if you get it now before the new catalog comes out in June. When the new catalog comes out in June, all of these stamps and the thinlits that are with them that are sold as a bundle are 10% off, and they're kind of pricey, so 10% isn't a lot, but it's something. So you want to get that 10% off. If you like this stamp set, I love it because it has thinking of you with loving thoughts and prayers, and it has be calm and leave it to God. Wow, what a great sentiment. And then it has congratulations, and you can use it as an upbeat thing too, but it makes a really good sympathy, get well, or just hang in there type card. I use a lot of that. So, and it's one that, you can use with a guy. And so anyhow, I'm going to swing the camera down. I'm hoping I don't mess everything up when I do that, because this is always sort of scary to me when it goes down, because I'm never really sure if it's going to show what I want it to show, and if it's going to and it takes me a while just to see what you see to know whether things are working properly or not. But anyway, so here's the card. It's actually going to go together really quickly. This is Night of Navy, and this is an old piece that I have that's actually probably not quite Night of Navy. It's probably something else, but super close, and it's been embossed with that subtle embossing folder. So I'm just going to fold this in half. That was just a 5.5 by 8.5 piece that I'm just folding over. And then we're going to do our background on a piece of Whisper White. And I think what I want to do, first of all, is I'm going to move my camera up just a tiny bit and see if I can get more of the area that I want to actually be working on. Let's see if you see it. Okay, that looks a little bit better. All right, so we are we're gonna figure out what my dimensions are, because as usual, when I make a card, I just kind of go with what I have. Like I had a piece of Whisper White that was pretty close to this size, so I just used it, and it looks like it's about 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. So we'll just cut it at that size right now, and use that dimension, because I ended up trimming off a little bit there because I wanted to save room for my little tag at the bottom. And the way is this a stork? I don't know if anyone's on with me. No, no one is. A heron or a stork, either one, his little feet are going to show. And obviously, if he's standing in water, they wouldn't. And I didn't want to cut them off or anything. So I just stuck him in there as he was. So you probably have heard that this trimmer is going. Next year's catalog is going to have no trimmer in it for now. I don't think they have a replacement trimmer. And that's going to be different for people, I know, but we're going to cope with that, and it will be fine. And let's go with the 4 1/2 on this side, because I really don't want to cut this whole piece this size. So 4 1/2, and then it was, I believe, oops, I got to flip it this way, 3 3/4. Okay, so my trimmer is doing what a lot of people's trimmers were doing, which is why they are getting rid of it and getting a new model, something that works better. When the blade gets dull, it leaves this little fuzzy edge, and you can clean your track, and that does help. But you know what? I've been using my trimmer for a long, long time, and I've just started having this issue. And I believe it's just because I haven't changed my blade. I think if I changed my blade, it would be perfectly fine. But whatever they come up with, I'm going to be happy to purchase, because I have gone through, I don't know how many trimmers over the years. I've tried, I know what a good paper cutter can do, because I've used them at school when I was a paraeducator. And so I know a good trimmer is gonna just make things so much easier and simpler. So I'm looking forward to whatever Stampin' Up! Comes up with, because I know it will be good. Their stuff is always good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this background water stamp. Oops. Now I threw away my paper when I punched out all of my stamps and layered them, so I had to get a piece of wax paper and cut it down to size to lay over it. Otherwise, my stamps are sticking to this case. And the problem is, if I leave it set and it's stuck there like forever, it's going to permanently stick there. So I don't want that to happen, so I put my wax paper on that. So you can take your water, stamp like that. And then I'm going to just use some Night of Navy to do that background water. It's very simple. We're going to go off the edge. You do want to do this on a narrower piece, because you don't want to have these edges. I tried to see if I could layer it and have it go together nicely, but it doesn't. So you will want to have a straight, you will not want to, it's fine layering up into it, but if I tried to get more here, you would see lines there, and it did not match up as well as some. It's kind of a little bit fussier. Okay, now look what I did. I made way too much water. I don't want that much water, so we're gonna flip that over, and I'm gonna go on the bottom here because I can see my lines a little bit. And this time I'm gonna be more careful because I don't want, okay, I want it to start here. All right, now that's better. I don't know what I was thinking, except for I was blabbing. And that's what happens when I do that. I'm not going to put this away because I'm going to use that on the sentiment right there. Okay, let me clean my stamp really quick. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the sky. Now you can use a sponge and do a really nice sponged sky, and that works great, and it's very easy to do, and it's pretty quick. However, having said that, I am going to use my B0000 Copic, and this is going to do my sky very quickly too. A little quicker than my sponge would. Okay, so if you don't have any Copics, I would encourage you getting just some. You don't have to have a bunch, but these pale Copics are really nice. When they start to go a little bit, then you can get some alcohol and just refill it a tiny bit, and it'll give you a little more life. And then the other thing you can do with these that I don't think our blending pens have the capability of yet, maybe in the future. This nib pulls right out, and you can get refills for these, and they are cheaper than the pen itself. So, okay, so I just went over this a bit just so that it wouldn't show as many lines. I don't care if there's some. And I do actually have a blending pen that's a Stampin' Up one, but this is all gonna kind of dry and look more smooth as it goes, so that I'm not concerned with that. I'm gonna take this B00 to do the water. I think that will give me a little bit darker color for this water. It's pretty light also though. It's not, and it's, the reason I'm using this instead of the balmy blue is because this is a little bit lighter. Stampin' Up's blending pens are just a little too dark for me, and I don't. If you like to watercolor and you're good at watercoloring, you would prefer that. But I have not practiced watercoloring, and I'm still not all that satisfied with my efforts on that, and I'm actually just not interested in watercoloring, so I'm not doing it. All right, now I'm going to use this spare piece to do my little heron, and I'll save that little scrap. We're going to stamp him with, we're going to stamp all these pieces except for this grass, because I'm going to just use this scrap of, this is an old scrap of who knows what. Any green would do, because I'm not using any green really anywhere else in the card, so it doesn't have to be a color matching one particularly. But anyhow, all these other pieces are going to be stamped with our Memento black ink, and this is something that you could get in a craft store too. It's not like it's just Stampin' Ups. It's just it's the black that we're using now. I don't know if they're going to have their own black. We used to have our own black, and maybe in the new catalog when it comes out they will have a black again. That would be nice. But I'm going to stamp the heron, and then we're going to cut all of these out with the Thinlit that comes with this set. All right, so that guy was good. I like this one because his beak and his legs are black, and if it were me, I probably would be coloring those. So it's actually kind of nice that they just went ahead and made that decision for me, and I don't even have to fuss with it. And there's the sun, and I'm just cleaning over here as I go. And then the little lily pad flowers. And the sailboats are the last little bit that we need. And there's actually 3 little sailboats. It's just that when I ran it through my paper, my Big Shot last night, it is separated. See, this little boat separated. I tried to find it and it was gone. I'm sure it's under my desk somewhere, but I couldn't find him, so we just did with 2, and actually that works fine. So, okay. Now I'm gonna just color those lily pads. This is probably Granny Apple Green. I didn't really look at the color yet. That's what it is. So this is the dark. I think we'll just do a little bit of the underside of stuff where it would be darker, and then we'll get the light out because that's way too dark. There we go. That's better. Those blending pens really do blend nicely, don't they? So that you don't have a line where my shadow was. It's just kind of blends in there. And we'll get that stem. And then we are going to use Pineapple Punch for all of the yellows. I think the dark Pineapple Punch. Now I actually used a Copic pen, so I'm going to test this a little bit. It looks pretty good. I want to make sure that is yellow enough, because sometimes I get that so saffron accidentally and it's not quite such a brilliant yellow. This is fine, but to tell you the truth, I like my yellow 08 Copic one, I think, a tiny bit better. It's a little bit brighter, but this is good enough. If I want to, I could grab it, go right over it, because since they're both alcohol pens, they both work together. And then my sailboat, I just want my colors to stay the same. I don't want there to be too many colors on here. Navy is great as it, Stampin' Up! Has moved it to its neutral palette. I don't even know how to say the word. And that's because, you know, it can be used as a neutral, but to tell you the truth, it's a pretty distinctive one. Hard to, it's not like brown and gray. It is a little harder to get to go with other stuff. So we want to limit it to 3 colors, but I did sneak in a little bit of brown. And I'm not real sure what brown I used. It might have been this one, E31. Let's take a peek. That looks pretty close. If it wasn't that one, it was close to it. And we'll get this guy too. I don't know if he's going to disappear like the other ones did. He might, but he might be fine. Okay, and then I've got this W00. This is a warm gray. You really can't see much there, but I just don't want this guy to be all white. So we'll put a little bit of gray on his belly and his neck, just where there would be some shadow, particularly right there. This one says purple. Well, I don't want purple. It looked gray to me, but I'm not seeing another gray. So we're going to just leave that. I did it with here, and you can hardly see it. Okay, so now I am going to go back over to the cutting machine, because we're going to want to do that. And I'm sort of gently trying to raise my camera so that you can, oh, there are people on with me. Hey, Michelle, it's nice to see you. Thank you for sharing. I'll have to, why I can never see comments, I don't know. It's very frustrating for me, because it's always more fun to be doing it with people. So, Michelle, did you have a great Easter? I'm gonna, before I mess with this too much, I'm gonna see if I can adjust my computer over here to see Sylvia, you're on. Awesome. I'm so glad there are people here. I'm doing this so much later. I did not think that anyone would be with me. So thank you for sticking it out with me. Did you have a good Easter, and what did you do? Because it would have been really nice if we could have seen our grandkids for Easter, but we didn't, because we didn't go down to where they live. If we'd gone down there, we would have been able to see them. And obviously, they stayed home and had a great time. We saw some great pictures because my daughter-in-law is really good to always send pictures of everything. So I'm going to just put this on here, and in the other thing I really like about this Lakeside framelit, guys, is that it has two of these labels. It's always nice when a set includes little label tags. I like that. I've already cut those out though, so I don't really need to do those again. I'm going to set that aside. It also does have this really cool water that cuts out, but I didn't really need that either. I'm just using the Lilypad and the stork and the sun. So we'll get those on there. Oh, Sylvia, New Zealand, it's mid-morning. Okay, this is a better time for you, I bet, to watch stuff. This is not a great time for us because the only reason I'm here, if you weren't on with me earlier, I was outside in the garden, and I started out in the garden with our camera because that's where I've been all morning. I prefer to be outside this time of the year. This is just really hard for me to make myself come in at all. So that's what I've been doing. And if you saw my garden, though, being in New Zealand, you'd probably get a chuckle because I believe in New Zealand you have far nicer gardens, far nicer things, maybe in your yard, just because of you have the ability to grow things that we can't grow here. Okay, so I'm going to roll this through, and I'm hoping my magnets don't shift, or the plate doesn't shift at all. Sometimes it does, just because I'm using my very warped board. And if I was using my nice flat one, it would work just perfectly fine, but it looks like it did just fine anyway. So I'm going to move all of my stuff up here so that I can put it away when we're done. And then I'm going to bring my camera back down over here to where I'm working, hopefully. And we'll see how that's cut out. Ah, perfect. So there's that little guy. Oh, I've still got to do, I'm not done. I shouldn't have moved the camera because I forgot. I still have to do the grass. So I'm using, on this card, I'm using some yellow vellum just for one grass blade. Now, I didn't need to do that, really, and I'm not sure that I even like the yellow particularly, but I happen to have some yellow there and thought, let's give that a try and see how that looks. But looks like I have some green still stuck from last night there, but I do need to cut that out. So let me move my little stork up there and the sun and the water. Oh, good. I don't want to lose those boats. Last night I lost one, but it looks like they're there. So let me put these things away. Put this little guy up there. Okay. Okay, Sylvia, you have roses. Oh, man. And you're not a gardener, but your husband does vegetables. Awesome. Well, good. I gave up on vegetables a long time ago. And now I don't even have really any herbs because I guess I have them in pots. I was so tired of this year. Hey, Jewel, it's nice to see you. I was so tired of the cane borers destroying my roses because after this winter, when I went out to see what damage was done, I was stunned to see that they'd attacked even old canes that were like super hard. So I just, you know, old canes, they burrowed right through my paint that I put on it. And anyway, so I'm done. I was done. I'm putting out systemic fertilizer, insecticide. I don't care anything at all about anything that I'm not going to eat anything. I decided, okay, I'm going to just put any herbs that I want are going to go in pots because that's the only thing I can do. All right, so I'm going to have to just quickly run. I'm not going to move my camera around again. I'm going to just try to do my grasses over here really quickly off camera to get that done. Oh, there he is. I was going to say, where did it go? It's sticking to my plate. There's one. This is a little tedious because there is only this one, and I need two on my card, and I'm actually gonna I'm gonna need to still cut out that yellow piece. So Jewel, what did you have a good Easter with family? I assume that you guys are doing something with kids at Easter time, even if you're not celebrating Easter too much. Sometimes people do like to do an Easter egg hunt, even if it's just for kicks. When I was growing up, we were religious, but our faith actually was kind of strict in some ways. So because they felt that Easter was not falling at exactly the time it should, they opted not to celebrate Easter. But our family still celebrated Easter. I mean, it's like many different faiths you have. There might be some technicalities, let's say, about things that just don't concern you so much, and it's sometimes nice to just have a bit of fun and not worry too much about the theology of it all. So that's how it was when I was growing up, and I sort of kept that tradition. I was not too concerned about whether the actual date of Christ's death was on the day that we were celebrating, but for people who do feel strongly about that, I can understand that. I don't happen to have that feeling, but I certainly wouldn't want to discourage anyone from. Okay, now my card is way bigger, so I'm gonna have to trim that one down because I didn't even measure it when I did it, but I can do that. We'll see if it gets fuzzy on the edges. I don't know. Let's check this one and make sure it's not bigger than I think it is. No, it is the standard 4 1/4. Oop, I don't want to cut that edge. That would have been bad. Okay, 4 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and presume this side is 5 1/2. Okay. All right. That should work out better. And now I'm going to just get some rubber cement and put that base on, and it will be almost done. If you're just joining, you can see I did the water on the back too, but it was like way too high. I was talking probably about my garden. My husband and I were away over the weekend, and where we were was really beautiful. There were some nice plants, and I noticed that as we were going along, poor Jeff was like really bored with my plant talk. I tried to limit it a little bit so that he doesn't get too annoyed with my plant chatter. But once I get going on plants, it's hard to stop. Okay, I'm going to put my sun on here right now because I am going to need to know where to put my sentiment. I don't want to put my sentiment where it's going to get hidden. I'm going to do a different sentiment. This one was thinking of you with loving thoughts and prayers and with love and sympathy here at the bottom. But I don't really want another sympathy card right at the moment. I think I'm hoping I won't need another one right away. So we will use it. Now with these, one thing, and you guys are experienced stampers, so I know you know this, but it is kind of interesting how just the perspective of your focal point, where it is. You know, you can alter it. If I put this guy over here, I mean, it would be fine. I could do that. But it would look like he was looking somewhere that's, like here, off my card and gone, you know? So I'm really stuck with him being over here on this side. And that's fine. I actually have him more like here on this card. I guess I should probably stick with my design. Normally I kind of like to have these raised pieces that are that we put on our dimensionals on. I like to have some of it sticking off. Just kind of gives more oomph about how, oh yeah, that's not even on that card, but totally, I mean, it's on and off, but we're gonna stick with it the way it is because my issue was his feet. I didn't want to cut his feet off and just have them stuck there. And that's one reason that the Thinlit with the wavy, you know, water on it is useful. You can use this and use this for your water, and then you can stick his legs in there and kind of disguise the fact that you've cut off his feet. But instead I'm going to just use this big fat water lily. And now this one is going to be, I'm hoping the look is that it's in the foreground here and he's in the background, because of course this is not at all to scale with that stork, and the boats have to be like way over here because they're definitely much smaller than they would be if it was real life. And I still think I don't know if I'm going to use this third one at all. I kind of like just the two, so we're going to go with just the two. Anyway, when you're doing your card, you can just play with it. Play with placement. Try to think about where, it's just like anything else that, you know, any other thing you design. If you design your room or you design a garden, when you're thinking about your picture, when you're taking a photograph, you want a focal point. Usually the focal point is not right in the center. It's off-centered. So, my focal point actually is this guy with the Lilypad. So you want it to be off-centered. But because it's off-centered, I had to use the boats. I wasn't actually going to use the boats. And I was thinking about how in our new catalog that's coming out, they have a new lighthouse set. I think it's called Sail Away is going to be the set. And it looks really nice. I like our old lighthouse too. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about it actually, but it's such a nice one that I know I'm gonna like it as well. I'm not sure what the scale is gonna be like, because a lighthouse with the stork would have been nice, but I think all of our lighthouses, it's hard to get the scale right. And I know you know what I mean. Now my grasses are not looking quite the way I want them to look, because I did just cut them out of green. They're in my, in this stamp set, you don't have a grass stamp. And if there was a grass stamp, I probably would have used it. But not having had one, we're gonna use our pen to just give a little bit of definition here to the leaves. So I think what I'm gonna do is that, let's see how dark that's gonna be. I don't want it to be too terribly dark. Maybe I'll use the lighter one. That looked a little bit on the dark side. Well, now, did I flip it? Because, oh, I flipped it. I was gonna say, now I can't even see it. Okay, there we go, that's better. So this way I can just kind of add in some lines and make my grass look, you know, not like just a die, not just a die cut that I cut out just now. So we'll see if I can do it. If you just kind of play with stuff, eventually it'll come together. you know, a worst case scenario, I would hate it and have to cut another one. It's not that big a deal. The only thing I'm noticing with these dies, with this particular one, and I don't know that I noticed it so much last night when I was doing it, and I played with color on those enough that I don't see it, but I can see my little raised dots where I had to poke the poker through to get it out. And sometimes that happens with these dies. And I'm hoping with the Michelle, Wendy, oh Michelle, what did you say? Well, can you sign up to make cards with Kathy? I'm not sure if you're talking to somebody and I shouldn't be seeing it or should be seeing it. I didn't do this with my other one, but I think I want to try adding just a little bit of color here to my vellum. I don't know if it'll even stay on. Vellum's tricky. Sometimes it just rubs off. Okay, there we go. I think that worked. All right, so that's that. And now I can get, let me get this little sailboat on here. I'm using my little mini dimensionals here. They're very, very small, and I don't have to trim so much. Michelle, if your friend has a hard time seeing this, I hope my privacy, I shouldn't have any privacy settings. I've gone through and marked public for like everything. It's like it's just Facebook is just so contrary sometimes to what you want to do. So the other reason that I wanted to put this, I didn't really need another sentiment on this card, and then I thought, well, I'll make this shorter so I can put one here because I don't want my little grasses just stick in there. I don't know. I have a problem with things just sort of floating in the middle of nowhere, I guess. So anyhow, I'm using this tiny little tag, and this is the tag that I cut out last night from that same Lakeside framelits, and we're going to just stick that on there, but I'll have to do the sentiment. So I'm going to push these aside for a moment and get these sentiments stamped. And let's see, we've got the be calm and leave it to God. That's a really good one, but I think I'm going to go with the to see far is one thing, going there is another. That will be actually a better one to have this double saying. So we'll get the to see far is one thing first out. And let's stick it on there. Now I haven't used this before, so I think I'm going to do a real quick tester here and make sure that my lines from the edge didn't show, because I think I even got a little ink on it. Yeah, I think I did. But we'll see what happens. I sure hope that doesn't... Oh, good, it didn't do anything bad. The trouble is, if I trimmed it as close as I possibly could, my goodness, but ink, if you push too hard, ink goes on the edge. But if you don't push hard enough, you might not get enough ink on there. So it's always tricky. And, you know, sometimes people are frustrated and think it's just them, that they're not... They don't know how to stamp, but it's not them. It's just that all stamps have to be tested. You never really know what they're going to do. The ink pads themselves are all a little different as far as how juicy they are or how firm that foam pad is. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Awesome. I'm so glad that you're sharing, and thank you for having come to class. That would be awesome if they did that. I think this Friday is our class at 10 o'clock, and anyone can do it with us online too. I've done it online, and it worked really successfully. The lady had a great time doing it. I think it's the only way you could do it you can't do this class with me online because it's this Friday. And we have to have like at least a 2-week window there so that you can, because you would have to, being online, you would have to order this and that Finlet set to do it with us. But that's how it works. You just order the stuff, and then you can just do it on our private Crow's Nest Crafters page with us. And okay, let me test that. And it works great. So anyway, I hope your friends can come. We're going to have a few people here this Friday. It should be fun. The butterfly card is really beautiful, so I know everybody will really enjoy it. Okay, so we're going to just be ready now to stick that on there. And I think I might go ahead and stick it on because I can always put the... Well, do I want to do that? Maybe I better stick those on first. I might have to trim these. I think I actually used my my roll of poster tape for this. Now you can go down to a hardware store or any place. Hi there, Marty. It's good to see you. Watch make sure you guys share, and then I'll enter you. Tomorrow I'll draw for last week's video. It might even be the last 2 weeks because I know I've kind of been on vacation and goofing around, not doing everything I should be doing. That one's too fat. Now this vellum is a little trickier. I should probably stick it on first because vellum, I don't want to put this on the vellum because you'll see it. You'll see right through it. So I'm going to have to use my rubber cement on that. Okay, good. That's, oops, did I put it on the wrong side? No, that's the right side. I just can't even see the lines I colored. Those blending pens, they really do, it just soaks right into it. I'm pretty sure I did do it. Maybe not. Okay, get that on there. Okay, good. You can't see that. The poster tape, you know, I don't really want that to be showing. And I'm trying to just get a few lines going here with my grass because I don't want it to just look like a big blob. And I use the lighter color of Granny Apple Green, but it sort of just disappeared. Okay, this is gonna darken up a little bit here. Hopefully not too dark, but I don't think it will because it, like I said, it just kind of disappeared on me. On this one even, I went over with a much darker olive one because it kept just disappearing. So I'm gonna take some rubber cement actually and just put it on the bottom. And it's going to kind of just float here in the middle. And it is going to take a minute for that rubber cement to really take hold. I'm not going to wait for it to take hold. I just need to make sure it's sitting there because every time I lift up my finger, it wants to come away. The problem is it's being lifted up by this background piece, so I can't just lift my finger up. All right, let's see. Jewel, if you already have the stamps and dies, is it possible to do Friday? Oh, yes. Awesome. If you already have the stamps and dies, then all you will need, let's see, the butterfly Finlet, you probably have all the you know, the inks and because you need to have paper that you want to use or cardstock that you want to use. You will definitely have to have black cardstock. Normally my online class, I would mail all of that stuff to you, you see. That's part of doing it online. But this is already Monday, so I'm not sure if it would get to you in time for this Friday. Kind of need at least a 7-day mailing window to make sure you get the stuff and you have everything. You could still do the class with us, but if I'm not mailing any supplies with you, then I'm going to just charge you $5 for it, because I'm not going to charge you $10 when I'm charging $10 for everybody else and they get all of the card stock and everything all cut out for them. So you think about it. If you want to do it with us for $5, I'd be happy to have another I love having people join us online. It's fun, and it's pretty easy to do online, and you get the fun of being in class with us, even though you're not able to be right here with us. So you let me know if you want to do it. Because you would need, if you've got the Thinlits and the stamps, and you would need black ink, and I think we are using Flirty Flamingo is our other pink, but any pink, but you'll need a pink inker to stamp that with, and dimensionals and glue. I'm trying to think what else we're using on that. Oh, the other thing that we're using, Jewel, is foil paper. And we're using that Grapefruit Grove foil, but any copper would look really good. Copper or gold would work too. And so anyway, that's what we're doing. And what did I do with my label? I know it's here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Oh, good. Okay, so now the label is going to go on there. And so Jewel, at the end of this video, I will, can I? Let's see. I think I have your email. And you get my newsletters all the time. If you find an old newsletter, there's always a square. The registration thing is on that Square Up thing. So if you just go to an old newsletter, you could find that registration link and sign up under the Crow's Nest Cottage people. Even though you're not a member of my team, that's a $5 charge for them. They get to do all of my classes with us for $5. So you could use that that ticket to get the class for $5. So you think about that, and that would be awesome. Okay, so that is done. To see far is one thing, going there is another. I'm not sure I really even like that sentiment. And I'm not really sure who I'd ever send that to. Because it's kind of negative, to tell you the truth. I'm like really positive things. So if this is probably going to have to be a card to for fun, for humor, and then on the inside, we are going to make a joke of some kind, because yeah, it's not super positive, but it's still a cute card. And you do have the foil. Awesome. Okay, because that foil is really pretty. I love that Grapefruit Grove foil. And so, Linda, you're on. It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And you have the paper, Jewel. Good. Okay, so Jewel, if you just go to that squareup.com, again, like in my newsletter, like every newsletter probably I send out, there's some link to Square Up, and you will see the ticket for the Crow's Nest Crafters for my classes, and then you can just sign up on that, and then I will send you, if you decide to do that, when I see that come through, then I will send you a permission to join. I'll just send you you are going to join our Crow's Nest Crafters, so that you can see it on our page. And I'm done with the card, so I'm going to flip this up so I can actually see you, and you're not just seeing my hand flopping around down there. After the class is done, Jewel, then I will have to take you out of that group, because it is just for our the people that are on my team, but it's the best way to be able to make sure that only people who have paid for the class see it and get to participate in it. So that's just the easy way for me to do that. And I should maybe start another page, another Facebook page that I could use for that. If a bunch of people do this with me, I suppose I could do that. I'm not sure how I could keep that alive every day or two, but maybe we'll see. It's a good thought. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I am going to go back outside. I can't wait to get out there. It smells so good. I think that's part of the reason. All the snowball bushes are blooming, all my lilacs. And I have a Daphne bush that's blooming that this is my first year with it, so I'll have to go back and sniff it and see if I even like it. Because someone said that they didn't even like Daphne, the smell of Daphne. So they wouldn't like being in my yard right now. But anyhow, I think that's it. Tomorrow I'm going to definitely draw. One other thing I'm doing is another demonstrator said to do a cheer corner card. It sounded like such a fun idea. I loved it. And I see Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. I did have a great Easter. It was fun. Michelle, I think, is the only one so far who's nominated somebody. So every Tuesday, I'm going to do I'll put a card up. And for my cheer corner, it's on the Kathy Crow's cards page, this page that this is on right now. And so if you scroll down, you should see it. I haven't looked at it lately, but I think Michelle's the only one so far that's done it. And I'm hoping it'll grow. I know there's a lot of people who like to get cards, but you just nominate somebody that you think deserves to get a nice card. And then tomorrow, if no one else enters, Michelle's automatically won. Normally I'll draw, and then I'll email you to find out the address so that person can get that card. And then tomorrow also I will draw to see who won the drawing for sharing for this last week. And anyhow, all right. So Jewel, let me look here really quick. I have to take my glasses off. That's my work email. Oh, and you're having surgery. Oh, okay. I can't see the rest of my message without clicking, and then that's going to mess up the video. So, because it just says see more. So I will have to continue this conversation later and after I close it off. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.